Special angle pairs. So this is the figure that you'll be seeing repeatedly throughout this lesson. So let's go ahead and label the parts. So these two lines are parallel lines. And then the line that cuts through them is called the transversal. So what we'll be doing is we'll be identifying special angle pairs that exist when a transversal cuts through two parallel lines. So the first angle pair is corresponding angles, and corresponding angles are congruent. So what we mean by corresponding is that they are located in the same place at each intersection. Well, I call them intersections. So this, make this a little bigger. So this angle right here corresponds to this angle. So these two angles are congruent. So if this is 33 degrees, then this is also 33 degrees. Now let's identify the other corresponding angles. This angle corresponds to this angle. This angle corresponds to this angle. And lastly, this angle corresponds to this angle. And again, corresponding angles are congruent. Vertical angles are also congruent. So vertical angles are angles that are across from each other. So the angle that's vertical to this one is right here. You see how they're across from each other. The other vertical angles are here and here. Here and here. And here and here. These are vertical angles. Next, alternate interior angles are also congruent. And so by alternate, we mean on opposite sides of the transversal. And then by interior, we mean inside of the parallel line. So it's going to be in this area here. So we have this angle, the alternate interior angle is this. So these are congruent. And then also right here, this angle is congruent to this angle. They are alternate interior or congruent angles. Alternate exterior angles are outside of the parallel lines. So that would be here and here. See, they are outside of the parallel lines. And then also here and here. These are alternate exterior angles and they are congruent. Same side interior angles are supplementary. Supplementary means they add up to be 180 degrees. So same side means they're on the same side of the transversal, and interior means inside of the parallel lines. So that would be this angle and this angle, and this angle and this angle. And those angles are supplementary. All right, the last angle pair are linear pairs, and they are also supplementary, meaning they add up to be 180 degrees. So linear pairs are angles that are beside each other. So for example, 1 and 2 would be considered a linear pair. You also have 3 and 4, they're right beside each other. 5 and 6 are beside each other. 7 and 8 are beside each other. But that's not it. We also have to look the other way. So 1 and 3 are linear pairs. 2 and 4 are linear pairs. 5 and 7 are linear pairs. And 6 and 8 are linear pairs. So it's pretty much the angles form a straight line, okay? 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and look at example 1. So what we need to do is identify the special angle pair and then solve for x. All right, so the special angle pair, we have angles that are inside of the parallel lines and on the same side of the transversal. So we would call these same side interior angles. And in order to solve for x, we need to create an equation using what we know about same side interior angles. And we know that same side interior angles are supplementary, meaning they add to be 180. So 80 plus x plus 104 equals 180. All right, so let's go ahead and combine like terms. So that would be x plus 184 equals 180. Subtract 184 on both sides. So x equals -4. Example 2. So these angles are right beside each other, so we know that these are linear pairs. And linear pairs are also supplementary, so we're going to add them up to equal 180. So 16x minus 2 plus 30x minus 2 equals 180. When we combine like terms, 16x plus 30x gives us 46x, and -2 and -2 gives us -4. So let's add 4 on both sides. 46x equals 184. Divide 46 on both sides, and x equals 4. Okay, so these angles are inside of the parallel lines, but on opposite sides of the transversal. So these are alternate interior angles. And alternate interior angles are congruent. So that means we will set them equal to each other. So 14x minus 5 equals 135. Now let's add 5 on both sides. So 14x equals 140. Let's divide 14 on both sides. So x equals 10. Example 4. These angles are across from each other, so these are vertical angles. And they are congruent, so we'll set them equal to each other. 135 plus x equals 130. Subtract 135 on both sides. So x equals -5. And our last example, so these angles are in the same place at the different intersections. So these are corresponding angles. And they are congruent, so we're going to set them equal to each other. So 6 plus 8x equals 9x minus 2. So we can solve this by subtracting 8x on both sides. So we're left with 6 equals x minus 2. And now we'll add 2 to both sides. So we're left with 8 equals x, or x equals 8.